Hi. So, mini episodes are different from regular episodes because mini episodes last about less than 25 minutes long and it's just me with a friend or someone else talking about a certain topic, a certain specific and particular topic. And for this mini episode, Ange and I talk about the recent tragedy at Cagayan and the Philippine flood problem in general. Hope you enjoy. Philippines is in a bad place.
Indeed.
Like,
Very.
on top of everything, the political landscape, but even beyond that, yung natural calamities natin here. And it's pretty sad because like we go from one crisis to the next, and other countries don't get to experience like this type of natural vulnerability because us, there's the fucked up political environment here, and then there's the pandemic, and there's our economy, and there's our public infrastructure and everything, and then there's also storms yearly. Every year we have crazy ass storms, record setting highs parate, as in
Yeah.
like Yolanda, diba? Yolanda was like the strongest storm ever, and then like people expect us to like rise every year after that, and
Without
now
doing anything different.
what are we doing different now? But we must be doing
Is there?
something right because we're not completely down in the dumps. We're not like a destroyed country.
Yeah, well, I mean, hindi siya from ground zero talaga. At least not here, but yung like the very stricken areas, I bet they would really have to start from the ground up, considering everything's submerged.
Yeah, and what happened in Cagayan, sa Cagayan, that's more with anything. That's very much tied into yung capability natin as people, because what caused the flooding was because the dam opened,
Seven
and
gates.
seven
All
gates
at
of
the
the dam
same time.
opened. And nakita ko, nabasa ko, thousands of cubic meters of water was released per second. So 1 cubic meter is like,
Per second. Jesus.
how big? I don't know.
How big is
Pero imagine 1,000 plus of those every second. It's impossible. It's impossible to handle. And I don't know, we release, diba? We release water from the dams to prevent like the dams from breaking and making a much more terrible catastrophe. But it's hard to see how much more terrible it can be sa nakita natin. And
And parang that the effect that it gives, parang tsunami na in a way. Because literally,
yeah.
how much water in just a short amount of time.
Yeah, and nakita mo
Like,
ba
you
yung
can't
picture
really
ng
expect.
yung statue? Like the statue.
Totoo nga eh, ang lala nun.
Oh,
Parang how tall is that statue?
I think it was, basta mukhang maliit yung tao, diba? Like, the person didn't even reach yung knee ng statue.
Yeah.
And the statue was submerged until like
Neck
shoulder,
deep.
neck deep level na. Tapos yung bridge that was like above everything. Like, sobrang lapit na ng tubig doon.
Was that in
Insane.
Marikina or?
I think I saw yung sa Cagayan. Yung sa Cagayan. Pero grabe yun. Yung solution na nakikita ko parang, I mean, obviously there's no direct solution for like addressing natural disasters. Pero to call out what happened as negligence, I see is to a certain extent correct because everyone could have been evacuated if it was predicted to be na ganun yung extent ng danger. And I mean, you acknowledge na even if may evacuation notices, may mga taong pa rin magsistay, and that's understandable, of course. Kasi we've experienced a lot na kala natin malala yung bagyo pero hindi naman pala. So medyo may level of complacency doon. Pero nakita ko sa isang news article that the national government knew it was coming. They knew na yung Magat Dam was like to the tipping point na. And but the local government units didn't know. Or like they claimed they didn't know. But I don't know. I feel like it's impossible for the local
that
government
they
units
didn't know.
to not know the direct vicinity of that. And it's on them. I mean, most especially, I think. Because of course may accountability yung national government. Pero yung local government units, parang obligation mo yun sabihin sa mga tao dun. Like, come on, mag-overflow yung dam, kailangan nyo na umalis. And even if prepared sila sa rescue operations, sa relief units, the best defense is prevention. Is wag talagang umabot sa relief ka sa kakailangan ng relief. So, that was
Pero
it's a real tragedy.
it's kind of weird though, because the typhoon that came before this, na sobrang, parang may hype pa. Because, I mean, hindi naman hype, but gets, parang people were very, very scared of Rolly. Yeah, diba? Parang, ang lala, parang people were sharing all these messages of the picture of the typhoon covering the entire country. Parang messages were circulating in these Viber groups all our titas are part of, apparently. And parang, ang weird because Rolly, at least here in Metro Manila, didn't have that much, like, it wasn't as destructive, and I barely felt it. Siguro the winds lang. But then, did we really not know how strong the Ulysses would be? Because there were reports that said that it was gaining strength, and it hasn't stopped gaining strength. Like, when it started entering the Philippine area of responsibility. So, did we downplay that enough? parang parang going with the forecasts of Rolly na parang hindi naman super lakas nung bagyo, baka naisip ng mga tao na maybe this isn't as bad as they're saying it would be.
And dun din papasok yung complacency again. Because like, may case in point sila na parang, yung Rolly nga, wala masyadong, tapos, so, yeah, I guess that put it, that's a factor, that could have, influenced yung, but still, I mean, it's the local government's responsibility to account for that, diba? Kasi kahit na complacent yung mga tao, dapat yung gobyerno hindi complacent. And
yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's I mean, I hate people always calling out the government. I feel like nagiging sirang plaka na and parati na. I mean, people love to call out the government and yeah, sure, fine, but I mean, come on. Not every bad thing is because of the shitty government.
Yeah.
But I mean, in this case, it's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking justified. So many people died. It's not even freaking. I mean, how do you even solve the flooding problem in the Philippines, right?
I know. That's what I was curious about, because during the night, like when it made its landfall, I really could not sleep. Like, I think it started mga 12, but then our electricity kept going on and off, mga 10 p.m. pa lang. And then it went all through, like, until 5 to 6 a.m. for us. And then parang the entire time I was just thinking, how is this affecting other people who aren't as fortunate as us, who have these roofs to protect us from, the elements of nature? And how are we supposed to solve this? Because it seems like everything is just being parang puro donation drive na lang. Every time there's a calamity, donate to ganyan. Pero what is the long-term solution for it? Because I saw this parang post on Facebook. It was Japan's solution to flooding. The
What's that?
underground water reservoir.
Reservoir.
Reservoir. So it's interesting though, but it costs a lot. And it started in 1992 and it ended in 2006. And it cost like $2.6 billion. So, but it did save them millions in damages from the future typhoons. I'm not sure if that would,
I mean, kung meron makaka-relate sa problema natin with natural disasters, I think it's Japan. I think they've also had their fair share of like
earthquakes,
tragedies. Lalo na yung one time, like the infamous, di ba? Yung nag-earthquake and then the nuclear reactor and then may tsunami and then it's like parang apocalypse happened and it was concentrated on like that one city. It was so terrible. But yeah, I saw that also yung yung series of underground tunnels, and I feel like that's a great solution to have, lalo na here in the Philippines. I mean, maybe I don't know, Elon Musk can make the boring tunnel like
boring for floods.
Boring for floods. Yeah, ayun.
I did see though, parang there's another project there because I think this is in another region of Japan, and there's an undergoing project that's similar to that in Osaka, and it's so much more expensive now.
But
and
why?
It's, well, I guess inflation. I mean, the inflation is a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
And then here, I researched. It's expected to be completed in 2044. So if a country like Japan, who's very, very developed and can create all of these projects, normally, like they can fix roads in a day, but it takes them 24 years to make that underground like water thing. How long would the Philippines, if in theory lang, hypothetically, if we did that?
Yeah, and I feel like that's the problem there is yung mentality natin on ayun nga, and how much our government system stinks. It really does stink. Because tingnan mo yung Skyway, diba? It was supposed to be done in like 4 or 6 years when it was first started. Tapos hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin siya tapos and hindi pa rin siya fully operational. And it's gonna be, matatapos na yung pangalawang administration that the Skyway is, and it's just freaking Skyway. I mean, paano pa kaya kunyari elaborate underground tunnel that really disrupts like everything? And it's partly, I guess, because you don't want other people taking credit of something you did. And part rin yun, like the turnover, everything, like who manages what. And yung pinakamalala is yung kickback sistema natin dito. Yung parang, when you make a project, tapos i-approve ko tong project na to, ito yung budget, but like 20% pupunta sa akin. So,
yeah, yikes.
Like yung ingrained corruption sa sistema, it's sad, and it's what's seeping life out of the development of the country, I feel. Kasi ngayon, 'di ba, we're so hopeless of thinking of long-term solutions kasi we're transfixed on like, okay, walang magagawang long-term solutions tayo kasi everything changes. Like everything we do is short-term. Kunyari yung beautification of the Manila Bay, diba? Short-term.
Short-term, even last months.
para lang makita na parang may ginagawa. Like short-term gains. And it's sad because to solve this big problem, like it's not a simple problem like flooding and saving lives. And I feel like it should be at the top of any government's list. Like, flooding and natural disaster preparedness affects every single part of society. And feeling ko dapat nasa top yon, and we never really see. we never really get to see sa mga policies nila, sa mga systems nila, like, anong gagawin nila to address this flooding problem? Because it's a problem every administration has. They're, like, ever since, di ba, nung nabuhay ako si Gloria, yung bata pa ako si Gloria pala, and si Noynoy, si Duterte, lahat sila binabaha. Lahat sila binabaha ng administration. It's scary. It's scary.
Yeah. Was there ever an initiative from even one of those presidents to solve the flooding?
I mean, I feel like meron naman, pero
Where is it?
pero hindi baka hindi lang nakikita, syempre.
Maybe.
Or I just don't know about it. Hindi siya effective. Kasi, you know, nakita ko like people are praising like flood wall. Let's make a flood wall or something. No, you don't make a flood wall. If you make a sea wall, the sea will eat the wall.
Oh my God,
unti-unti
actually.
kakainin ng dagat yung like, kunyari gumawa ka ng pader sa Manila Bay or something to prevent the flood, or like sa Marikina. They will eat, the water will eat the cement gradually, and then it will overflow, and then people will die again.
The flood wall picture looks scary in itself. Like, diba, parang sobrang taas. I'm like, holy crap, you know, if that breaks.
Kunyari, isang earthquake lang, diba? Isang earthquake. And the Philippines is in the ring of fire. Like, we experience earthquakes. Not too much, but like, there's a big risk. And isang earthquake lang, it can go haywire, and then the sea can go pouring into the land. Marami pa nating marami pa nating nire-reclaim na land, like, 'di ba? CCP, MOA. They were all sea before, and then now they're like not sea. Not sea.
Their land.
Hitler.
Not
joke
sea.
lang.
Sad. But you know, I was actually researching what causes flooding. You know, parang it is just
what
like
causes
the main
flooding? What an innocent.
I mean, yeah.
What
but
causes
guys, parang
flooding?
Poor urban planning, poor drainage systems, informal, like, well, you know, in Metro Manila, there are a lot of informal settlers. And parang I saw this article na local governments, parang they want to keep the informal settlers there because they count on their votes in the elections. And I was like, really boils down to the local government. Yeah.
Yeah. And yan, that's why I can't really blame my informal settlers, because a lot of them, syempre, doon na nabuhay, doon na sila pinanganak, doon na sila, like, they have nowhere else to go. And it's really on us to provide. Pero kahit na may pinoprovide naman, honestly, even if we're very empathetic about it, kahit na may pinoprovide na yung gobyerno and everything, they still wanna live where they grew up in and where they live now. Kasi kahit na libre yung bahay, kahit na gawin mong very adequate living space, mahirap pa rin to relocate so many people, because like that's gonna be and there are a lot, because that's like it's going to be hard to like bigla na lang, ang laking shift kasi yun sa buhay ng tao, and if they can find a way not to make that shift, they wouldn't. I feel like no one would naman. Like, if someone asked you, diba, to like, okay, from this point on you will now live there, somewhere far away, that you don't know the community or the neighborhood or something, like, you would choose to stay where you are, diba? And with yung sewage systems, lang ba? Pero parating may inaayos.
You know, even like, because yesterday, dito rin sa QC, like, I just went out yesterday just because I had to activate my ATM card. And then, paglabas ko, like, the area outside my village, sobrang traffic lag. As in, I don't know why. Bigla na lang may nag-aayos daw ng sewage pipes dun. Like, I don't know. Parang, was there something wrong in the first place? I mean, there probably was. Pero, grabe, sobrang tagal. And, may problema na nga yung sewage. the construction that it takes and the people, parang an additional problem would be the traffic congestion that it causes on the roads. And
Mhm.
imagine if we did make that tunnel thing. How long? Sobrang patong-patong na yung problema literally underground. And then
Yeah.
traffic. And then there's floods. Parang ano na.
Yeah, it's like insane. So yun, parang, tas nakita mo yun yung size ng sewage, di ba? Parang ganun lang. Yung mga semento na ganun lang.
Yeah.
And, kunyari sa US, di ba? Yung kita mo yung sewers nila, kasya tao. So, ang laki. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yung
really
mga
a series
cartoons
of...
na pumapasok sila.
sa Teenage
So
Mutant Ninja
sad.
Turtles pala.
Yes.
There are series talaga of underground tunnels na people can go in. Pero dito, it's like, ayun, those cement pipes and yung mga
Small.
kanal. And I don't think that's very fitting, lalo na sa atin who experiences a lot of rain. That experiences a lot of rain every year. So yun. So next, 2022, vote the candidate that has a flood plan. Ano?
Sabi mo, take vote. Take vote the
Take
candidate.
vote. Pick. I said pick.
I
said
thought you
pick.
said take. Ay, nako.
Yeah.